Welcome to Iraqi Dinar News, where you receive real and authentic updates about the Iraqi dinar. If you want to stay informed with moment-by-moment developments, make sure to subscribe to the channel and like the video. Today's discussion focuses on an important narrative circulating among Iraqi dinar followers: the growing attention on Iraq's economic reforms, its relationship with the United States, and the broader question of whether Iraq is moving toward a more open, investment-driven economy. The key claim being discussed is that Iraq's current leadership is placing a stronger focus on economic development in partnership with Washington, potentially setting the stage for significant financial changes. While some commentators connect this directly to a possible revaluation of the Iraqi dinar, it is important to separate verified economic developments from speculation. Let's start with what can be analyzed factually. Iraq has spent years trying to diversify its economy beyond oil. The country remains heavily dependent on crude exports for government revenue, making it vulnerable to fluctuations in global energy prices. Successive governments have talked about attracting foreign investment, improving infrastructure, modernizing the banking sector, and creating jobs for a young and growing population. Those goals have become increasingly urgent as Iraq seeks greater economic stability and long-term growth. One of the most important developments in recent years has been Iraq's effort to strengthen international economic relationships. The United States remains a significant partner in areas such as energy, finance, security cooperation, and investment discussions. When Iraqi officials emphasize economic cooperation with Washington, markets often interpret that as a signal that Iraq wants greater integration with the global financial system. However, greater cooperation with the White House or with international institutions does not automatically mean a currency revaluation is imminent. Currency values are influenced by a wide range of factors, including foreign exchange reserves, inflation, trade balances, monetary policy, banking reforms, investor confidence, and overall economic productivity. A stronger economy can support a stronger currency over time, but the relationship is rarely immediate or straightforward. For Iraqi dinar followers, the more meaningful question is whether Iraq is making measurable progress toward becoming a more attractive place for business and investment. On that front, there are several areas worth watching. Iraq has continued discussions about energy projects, electricity infrastructure, transportation networks, digital payment systems, and banking modernization. The government has also expressed interest in reducing bureaucratic barriers that have historically discouraged foreign investors. If these reforms continue, the short-term implication could be increased investor attention and improved confidence in Iraq's economic direction. Businesses generally look for signs of political stability, predictable regulations, functioning financial institutions, and reliable infrastructure. Any improvement in those areas can gradually enhance Iraq's economic reputation. In the longer term, sustained reforms could have a more meaningful impact on the Iraqi dinar. A country that successfully diversifies its economy, strengthens its banking system, increases non-oil revenue, and attracts productive investment may create conditions that support a more stable and potentially stronger currency. But that process typically unfolds over years, rather than through a single dramatic event. It is also important to acknowledge the challenges Iraq still faces: corruption concerns, political competition, infrastructure gaps, unemployment, and dependence on oil revenue remain significant issues. International investors often view these factors as risks that must be managed before large-scale investment accelerates. Even optimistic analysts generally recognize that Iraq's economic transformation is still a work in progress. The statement that Iraq will soon be open for business reflects a broader sentiment that the country is trying to present itself as a more investment-friendly destination. There is evidence that Iraqi leaders want greater private sector participation and stronger international partnerships. The critical question is how effectively those goals are implemented and whether reforms produce measurable results. For viewers following the Iraqi dinar specifically, it helps to focus on concrete indicators rather than rumors. Some of the most important indicators include central bank policies, foreign exchange reserves, inflation trends, banking reforms, international investment agreements, and legislation aimed at improving the business environment. These factors provide a more reliable picture of Iraq's economic trajectory than claims of an imminent currency event. Another point worth discussing is the role of the Central Bank of Iraq. The central bank's primary responsibilities include maintaining monetary stability, managing foreign reserves, controlling inflation, and overseeing parts of the banking system. Any significant change in exchange rate policy would likely be tied to broader economic objectives and financial stability considerations, not simply market excitement or online speculation. In recent years, Iraq has also taken steps toward expanding electronic payments and reducing reliance on cash transactions. While these reforms may seem technical, they are important because modern financial systems generally improve transparency, efficiency, and tax collection. Over time, such changes can contribute to a healthier economic environment. The relationship between Iraq and the United States is another area attracting attention. Economic cooperation can include energy projects, banking coordination, investment discussions, and support for financial reforms. Stronger international relationships may help Iraq access expertise, technology, and capital that support development efforts. But again, these developments should be viewed as part of a broader economic modernization process, rather than as automatic evidence of a near-term currency revaluation. Many Iraqi dinar followers remember previous periods when optimism about reforms, oil revenues, or international agreements led to expectations of major currency changes. History shows that economic reform in Iraq has often progressed more slowly than anticipated. That does not mean progress is impossible. It simply means investors and observers should distinguish between long-term structural improvement and short-term market narratives. From a short-term perspective, the most likely impact of positive economic headlines is improved sentiment. Businesses may become more interested in exploring opportunities, and policymakers may gain momentum for additional reforms. Financial markets often respond favorably to signs of stability and international engagement. From a medium-term perspective, the key issue is execution. Announcing reforms is one thing, and implementing them effectively is another. Investors will be watching whether infrastructure projects move forward, whether regulatory processes become more predictable, whether banking reforms deepen, and whether private sector activity expands. From a long-term perspective, Iraq's potential remains significant. The country has substantial natural resources, a strategic geographic position, and a large domestic market. If governance improves and investment increases, Iraq could become a more influential economic player in the region. Under those conditions, the Iraqi dinar's long-term stability could strengthen alongside broader economic growth. However, responsible analysis also requires discussing risks. Oil price volatility remains a major factor because government finances are still heavily tied to energy exports. Regional geopolitical tensions can affect investor confidence. Political disagreements within Iraq can slow reform efforts. And global economic conditions, including interest rates and commodity demand, can influence Iraq's outlook. For viewers trying to interpret statements about the stage being set, a balanced conclusion is that Iraq appears to be pursuing policies aimed at greater economic openness and international engagement. That is a meaningful development worth following. But translating those policies into sustained growth, stronger institutions, and potential currency benefits will depend on continued reform, political stability, and effective implementation over time. One reason this topic generates so much interest is that currency values often symbolize broader economic confidence. When people discuss the Iraqi dinar, they are frequently expressing a view about Iraq's future as much as about the currency itself. If Iraq becomes more stable, more diversified, and more integrated into the global economy, confidence in its financial system could improve. The timing and magnitude of any currency changes, however, remain uncertain and should not be presented as guaranteed outcomes. Another useful way to think about this is to compare Iraq's situation with other emerging economies. Countries that successfully strengthen institutions, attract investment, improve productivity, and maintain macroeconomic stability often see gradual improvements in their financial standing. Those gains typically result from years of policy work rather than a single announcement or political event. For Iraqi citizens, successful economic reforms could have effects beyond the currency itself. More investment could mean more jobs, better infrastructure, improved services, and greater opportunities for businesses. Those outcomes may ultimately matter more to the average household than exchange rate discussions alone. For international observers, the main takeaway is that Iraq remains a country with both significant opportunities and significant challenges. The narrative of becoming open for business reflects genuine ambitions within Iraq's leadership to attract investment and accelerate development. Whether those ambitions translate into lasting economic transformation will be one of the most important stories to watch in the coming years. As always, it is wise to approach dramatic currency claims with caution. Responsible analysis focuses on verifiable developments, economic data, policy decisions, and institutional reforms. Those factors provide a stronger foundation for understanding Iraq's trajectory than predictions of immediate or guaranteed currency moves. The current moment may indeed represent a period of increased economic activity and international engagement for Iraq. Partnerships with major global players, efforts to modernize the financial system, and initiatives aimed at attracting investment are all developments worth monitoring closely. They suggest that Iraq's economic story is evolving, even if the ultimate outcomes remain uncertain.